I've been learning Japanese for 20 years, and you'd think I'd have it all figured out by now, right? Well, I'm still not done, I still make mistakes, and I still discover new words. And honestly, that's exactly the point. Learning Japanese started out as a goal and a hobby, but it turned into something much bigger. It changed who I met, who I became, and even how I see the world, and that's what I want to talk about today. You see, when I first started learning Japanese, I treated it like everything else I'd ever studied in school. You know that mentality, right? Study the material, take the test, pass the class, move on, check the box, done. I remember thinking, okay, so N1 is the highest level of the JLPT, so once I pass that, I'll have basically beaten the language. I'll be done. As if this language is some sort of video game or something, just grind through the levels and then boom, achievement unlocked. But here's the thing that not enough people talk about when it comes to language learning. There really is no finish line. It never ends. I mean, even after all of these years, I still encounter words that I've never seen before. Or I'll be reading something and realize I've been misunderstanding a certain grammar point for years. Just last month, I caught myself mispronouncing a word that I've been saying wrong forever and nobody ever corrected me. And you know what my reaction used to be every single time? Frustration. Like, why am I still making these mistakes? When am I actually gonna get good at this? And I can't remember exactly when, but eventually that frustration turned into acceptance. I realized that Japanese wasn't something I could just power my way through. It's not like cramming for a history exam where you just memorize a bunch of dates and regurgitate them on some stupid test. Language doesn't work that way. You grow into it, day by day, conversation by conversation, mistake by mistake. Once I accepted that reality, that's when everything changed for me. I stopped seeing progress as a straight line, like language isn't linear like that. Instead, I started appreciating the messiness of it all, the slow but gradual improvement. Even on the days where I felt stuck and I felt like I wasn't making any progress, I was still absorbing something. I was still moving forward, even if I couldn't see it yet. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that Japanese taught me about patience and persistence. You can't rush fluency, you can't skip the awkward phase, you just have to put in the time and trust the process. And that mindset didn't just stay in language learning. It changed how I approached everything from work to parenting to even how I make these YouTube videos. I stopped chasing that perfection and end result. I stopped trying to get things right on the first try. Instead, I just show up, do my best, and try to be just a little bit better than the last time, little by little. But here's what's wild. That slow, messy journey also brought people into my life that I would have never met otherwise. Some of my closest friends today, people I talk to every week, people who have been in my life for over a decade now, I met because of this language. And the funny thing is, most of these friends aren't even Japanese. They were just other people who were learning the language like I was and felt the same pull that I did. It's hard to explain, but there's always been this draw towards Japan for me. The language, the culture, the way things work there, the history, all of it. And when you meet someone else who just gets that, who feels that same pull, it kind of just clicks. It was about sharing this fascination with the place and the culture that people around us really just didn't care about at the time, and it was a lot of fun. We talk about the kanji we were struggling with, geek out over some random thing we saw in an anime, or some weird phrase that doesn't quite translate well. That shared obsession built friendships that still last today. And then it led me to someone even more important, my wife. She's Japanese and we have a child together now, and the fact that I'm even a parent now is still wild to me, but I don't think any of this would have happened if I hadn't started learning the language 2 decades ago. Because what I've learned is that language isn't just about words. It's about connection and understanding how others see the world. Language and culture are so intertwined. They're basically 2 pieces of the same puzzle. And learning Japanese helped me understand that. It helped me understand my wife's culture on a deeper level and her perspective on things and even her sense of humor. Things that I would have never picked up on otherwise. And that understanding helped shape everything about the way that we communicate today. Beyond just relationships though, Japanese gave me access to so much great content. Like everything from anime to manga to novels, podcasts, TV, movies, music, the list goes on. There's just so much that I wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise because not everything gets translated to English. When you understand a language, you get to experience it in its original form. All the ideas, the subtle nuances, different perspectives, none of that I would have reached in any other way. It's like having access to a whole nother world, and it's amazing. Plus, there's all the unexpected stuff too, like this YouTube channel and all the amazing people that I met through it. Language is just amazing how it can open so many doors to new opportunities that you never even knew existed. Okay, so we have to address one more thing. You see, as a native English speaker who grew up in Western Canada, everything was just easy. I never had to think about how to communicate. Like everything was always in English and I could walk into any room and get by without effort. It's not that I was some great speaker or anything. I just never had to worry about how I sounded or whether I was making sense. Then I started learning Japanese and suddenly I wasn't that person anymore. At least not in Japanese. Even in basic conversations, I'd freeze worried I wasn't using the correct words or phrasing. Should I use the polite form, the casual form? Did I accidentally just offend somebody? I had no idea what I was doing, but I remember leaving interactions replaying every mistake in my head over and over again. I hated that feeling. The mistakes, people patiently waiting for me to find the right word. It was uncomfortable, and I went through a long period where I avoided speaking Japanese just because I wanted to escape that feeling. But eventually, and I don't recall why, but something shifted up here. And it didn't happen overnight, but gradually, over time, I stopped letting that fear control me. I focused on just trying, even if it sounded awkward, and I started to realize that being uncomfortable is just part of the process. When I focused on communicating, even if it was messy, then slowly I started to notice progress. And that progress turned into confidence, and then conversation started to feel more real and more enjoyable. I'm still not perfect and I still make mistakes, but stepping outside of my comfort zone and actually being comfortable with being bad at something is probably one of the most valuable things that I gained from learning Japanese. So, what is the point of all of this? Well, Japanese taught me about patience, it connected me to people and experiences that I would have never reached otherwise, and it pushed me outside of my comfort zone. Even now, after all these years, I'm still learning, and honestly, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. It never really ends. And that's what keeps me going. Not perfection, not the end result, just more.